Politic Red's got Tupac Shakur and the Colt AR, Daniel Defense Iron Sights, EOTech, Surefire Flashlight, Ranger Bandit on there, and how I like my rifle setup. It's good time, good sling. You know, there are probably better options out there. People know way more than me, but I find this works for me. You know, people will hate. The gun community is way on the hating and devouring their own. But when it comes to homesteading and learn something, you know, I like it. It works for me. Whatever works for you might be better. Yeah, don't matter really. But if you got find you some used pallets from a local store. Old dude down the road loves his dirt bike. I love it. He loves to rev on it and do his jumps and go fast. All about going fast, gang. First you last, right? But I support it. Could be out there doing worse things. He's doing it on his own property. That's his business. I support it. But also, I've turned on my deep water buckets. That used to be a water bucket, and I've gone for the more shallower pans, like this right here. Because Casey Anthony over here, she was actually our first mama of the group, and she lost hers. It's unfortunate. That's the way it goes. It sucks having to bury a 2-day-old goat. Never had a chance, and it did, but I call her Casey. It wasn't her fault, I promise, but it was my fault, to be honest. She, the goat drowned in one of the deep water buckets. That's the thing with goats. They'll climb onto something and they think it's solid on top. They'll climb onto something and not realize. And one day, the day or two after she was born, I came home and I heard Xena just bleating like no other. And I'm like, that's not a, hey, feed me, I'm hungry. You haven't fed me since 6 a.m. this morning. It was a, oh shit, something's wrong. And, that's the way I found her baby. But you have to love it enough through the good times to get through the hard times. One of my best good friends that I went to high school with taught me that. Her family's big into goats and raising them and selling them. And that's the way it is. It's hard. You're putting so many hours, so much money into trying to raise something that's, you try to do the best that you can. And at the end of the day, you can do everything right, but things will still go wrong. I wouldn't trade this life for anything else, especially when you have such a good mama over there raising that baby. We're doing so good. But my chickens are fed, my goats are fed. I can lay down at night and my body aches, my hands are dirty. I still wash my hands, but it's still all worth it in the end whenever I get to taste those fresh eggs. And I haven't one because she's nursing, but I have tasted a little goat milk and it's delicious, I tell you what. And I can be thankful, but I'm also a huge proponent. I'm eventually going to get some cows, not a cow, some sheep and a cow, because trying to manage this herd and make sure I have my finances set up right to where I can healthily support a cow and some sheep. I'll eventually get there, but maybe this year, maybe not. We'll see. But I'm a huge proponent of knowing where your food comes from, knowing the life it lived. And right now they're having a tussle. Oh, that's good. They do that sometimes. But I'm a huge proponent of knowing where your food comes from, and eventually, once egg production drops off from my hens, I want to process them and do all the right things, and yeah, I want to smoke them and I want to eat them because they've lived a healthy chicken's life. And eventually, like with these goats, I've had some goat and it's delicious. All about how you cook them. Some people don't like it, understandable. Y'all do your own thing. If you don't like it, don't do it. If you like it, do all you want, except for meth. Meth is not good. Not good for the health. No, sir. No, ma'am. And, once these goats get up to the age where they're not living a healthy life and they're not doing anything, they're not providing, which right now goats are a funny business, especially when it gets to, these are Nigerian dwarfs, and my old lady, Kate, I love her to death, she's my best friend. She knows a whole lot more about them than I do. But I'm sorry, this is a whole rambling off, just mix up topics. But we're eventually get some actual dairy goats where they produce every day. And milking a goat they're ornery. They're ornery as hell. But it's doable. I don't recommend it for everybody, but it's the way it is. And I guess eventually I'll try my hand at shearing sheep and I'd love to like have a sweater or something out of the sheep that I sheared, getting all that wool and having it processed. And I just think it's the coolest thing ever. Is how many people can say nowadays, hey, I'm wearing my sheep. I'm wearing the wool that this sheep produced. Cool as hell. This today at work, I'm a recycling assistant for the county, and I took for lunch. I made it Friday or Saturday, I think, and I cooked it up. I had a deer leg that I harvested last fall, and I processed it and cut it up to everything, put it in the deep freeze, and that deer was dang old delicious. And it was the first deer I've ever killed. My family growing up, we never hunted animals. Just the way it was, like we never really, our food came, in a styrofoam container from the store, plastic wrapped, and I really had no idea where my food came from. And now out my own, I'm like, I saw other people getting into it. I'm like, that's awesome. And that deer that I killed, I cut it up myself, skinned it and everything on my property, and it was great. And luckily, my Kate had killed a deer, two deer before, and she kind of knew. And of course, YouTube has been the best thing ever of learning and research and trying to figure out things. Everything from building shit to harvesting animals to taking care of animals. And I know that deer lived its life on my property. It was a little button buck. I felt bad. I thought it was a good sized doe, and oh well, it's the way it goes. I killed on my own property, and I processed it and cut it up, and I cooked it. And I can say at the end of the day that I, did everything that I could to give that deer the best life. Of course, I didn't really plan out. It was just, a deer roaming around our property. And I thought it was a good sized doe, like I said. And it's like that pighead in a previous short. We raised them up. We didn't really raise them. We rescued them from the local animal shelter. They may or may not have known that we were going to, raise them up to eat them, but they were rescued from those pigs. Lived the best life that they could. We fed them grain every day, had water, dry conditions. They weren't mistreated, and we give everything these animals could ask for, living their best life. And at the end of the day, they provide for us as we provide for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. People will tell you that, oh my God, how can you do that to an animal? Like, just do it. And I get where they're coming from. They have a good, kind heart that they don't want to see any animals harmed. But at the end of the day, I got to eat. My family has to eat. My dog's got to eat. And those animals live their best life. And they're not at the top of the food chain. And just way good about it. And these goats, they free range. They have free reign, except, the fence, all this property. They have free reign to eat wherever the heck they want and run around and be goats. And that's what an animal should do. The only reason I have the fence up is to keep from dogs and other predators getting after them. But anyway, in this video, I hope y'all have a good one. I hope y'all learned something. Keep on hanging loose.